Hello, and welcome to another segment of Who We Are and What We Do. I'm Stephanie Mason, Township Manager, and with me today are representatives of our Traffic Advisory Committee. To my left is Mark Shiner, Chairman of the committee, Dave Tompo, Traffic Engineer from Pennoni Engineers, and to my right is Chief Dean Logan of our Police Department. Welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Good morning.
Mark, let's start with you. Tell me about the Traffic Advisory Committee and why and when it was formed.
The committee was formed back in August of 2005, and really it was designed so that representatives from each one of the voting districts in the township are members, and those members are help to identify and review traffic issues that might occur in their voting districts.
Great. And how do the members of the Traffic Advisory Committee get the information that they review?
There's several ways, one of which is an online form which allows us to get information in from residents of the township about issues that they see in their areas. Additionally, we get issues that are reported to the Township Police that come in through Chief Logan, and also people that attend the committee meetings, which occur on the second Wednesday of the month.
And those meetings take place here at the Township Building. Chief, when those issues come before the police department, can you tell me what the process is used to evaluate those?
Well, if the police department directly receives the complaint without the coming through the Traffic Advisory Committee meeting, what we try to do is be proactive and do a little bit of research to find out, to try and identify the complaint, and so that when we bring that, so that at the next Traffic Advisory Committee meeting, I can present documentation to them whether or not I feel that it's a founded complaint or whether or not I think we can handle it in-house. Typically, the types of complaints that come into the police department are some are safety issues related to the roads within the township, including like such things as down stop signs or down yield signs or malfunctioning traffic signals. We also receive complaints regarding speeds on certain roadways within the township that we try to address. We do have a very proactive traffic enforcement program within the township. We're continually evaluating high areas in the township where excessive speeds are identified. We focus our enforcement efforts out at those locations. But on a monthly basis, at the Traffic Advisory Committee meetings, I do present the committee with statistical data about the speeds in the road within the township, so that we have the information at our fingertips in the event that we do receive complaints through the Traffic Advisory Committee, that we can honestly answer their questions. Is there a real speeding problem on your road, or is there not?
And Chief, can you explain how that data is collected that you evaluate?
We have multiple speed timing data collection devices within the township. We have two different types. One of the types that we have is what I refer to as our blind box. A resident in it or a motorist within the township might not necessarily observe it. It's designed to get true speeds, statistical data, and traffic volume without the motorist being aware it's out there. We're able to track roadway volume as well as speeds. The second type of traffic collection we have is what we call a flashing box. It will identify the operators. It will provide their speed as you pass by the location, and it will also collect the same data that the other box has. That type of box actually serves as also a traffic calming measure, very similar to like some municipalities utilize speed humps, speed bumps. We try to use the flashing box. It identifies to the motors, I may be speeding, and we're hoping to get them to curb their driving habits by the notifications through that.
Great, thank you. Dave, your firm assists the Traffic Advisory Committee in the township in analyzing traffic issues. Can you tell us the process that Pennoni uses to assist in the traffic analysis?
A lot of times, obviously, is there will be issues that will be brought to us, whether it be a speeding concern or an issue with an inoperable traffic light, or that it may not seem to add to a resident, or someone who commutes through the municipality, that that signal is not working properly. And through the process of working with the township staff, the administrative staff, and/or the chief, we will, and also with observation, we'll go out in the field. Maybe we'll talk to the road crew, director of operations, to find out what really the problem is. And then from there, we can determine, is it a situation where we need to have maintenance staff, whether it be the road crew, or to address a problem, or maybe we need to talk to PennDOT to maybe we need to retime a traffic signal because of changing in traffic volume through over time and through the municipality, that we have to do that. And it should be noted that the township owns and maintains all their traffic signals, but they are regulated by PennDOT, and therefore any changes that we make to those traffic signals will have to be approved by PennDOT, so that we have to get their permission before we can do that, because it is a regulated operation, and so therefore approval is required.
Right. And so we follow those PennDOT regulations. The Traffic Advisory Committee is familiar with those regulations and the recommendations that come through the police department. Mark, can you tell a little bit about the work that the Traffic Advisory Committee did on the street hierarchy?
Yeah, back in 2009 and 2010, we were asked by the Planning Commission to review and go over the traffic, the road classifications. And what I mean by that is certain roads are known as local roads, which are generally roads within a development, and there'll be a collector that they feed into. And then there's arterial roads. Those arterial roads could be roads as large as something like 611, or just roads that are called minor arterials, like Lower State and Upper State Road, that connect multiple development or multiple areas within the township. So we went through that process and reviewed the PennDOT standards, used those standards to apply that, and then made those recommendations back to the Planning Commission.
Thank you. And then, Dave, your office also reviewed those, and those became part of a new ordinance, correct?
Correct. With recommendations that the Traffic Advisory made to the Planning Commission then reviewed the ordinance. I think the ordinance was then amended with their approval, which was then provided to the Board of Supervisors for adoption into the ordinance. One thing I want to add to what Mark said is that not only are there there's two different types of roads besides roadway classifications. There's roads that are owned and maintained by PennDOT, and then there are roads within the municipality that are owned and maintained by Doylestown Township. And that roadway classification covered the local roads. PennDOT has their own classification, but our ordinance covers the local roads as well.
That's very good. Chief, when the issues come up in the local roads and the police department works with the Traffic Advisory Committee, what's the process and then the final implementation for an improvement?
I'll give you an example of, like, if we have a reason to, we have multiple residents complain about speed limits on their speeding vehicles on their particular street. Generally, what takes place is we'll refer to the Traffic Advisory Committee. The Traffic Advisory Committee will review monthly statistics that I provide to them regarding traffic volume and traffic speeds. They have certain protocol that the Traffic Advisory Committee likes to see in order for it to be a change in speed limits or the posting of a stop sign. They have certain criteria that they like to meet. If it doesn't meet the minimum requirements, then the speed limits will not be modified. If they feel that it exceeds those standards that they set forth, what they do is they make a recommendation to the Traffic Commission to have a speed limit modified or a stop sign posted. The Traffic Commission is a separate entity from the Traffic Advisory Committee, and it is made up of the members of that are the police chief, which is myself, the lieutenant of the police department, and the township manager, which is yourself.
Yes.
The Traffic Commission has the authority by PennDOT and the Pennsylvania Motor Vehicle Code to modify certain traffic regulations within the township. Speed limits on local roadways are one of those modifications that the PennDOT and the Pennsylvania Vehicle Code allows us to modify. So that way we then have a Traffic Commission. We'll have a meeting, we'll discuss it, we'll take a vote, and we'll make the speed limit adjustments or the posting of stop signs based upon recommendations through the Traffic Advisory Committee, and as well as the speed stats. And certain times we do have our traffic engineer from Pennoni's evaluate it to make sure that we're within the safety standards prior to those modifications being made. So you have three different functions: the police department, the Traffic Advisory Committee, and our traffic engineer, that are ultimately making a final recommendation to the Traffic Commission, who then makes the modifications for enforcement purposes.
Sounds like a very collective process that we have in place, and good input from the Traffic Advisory Committee. Mark, can you just once again let everyone know when the committee meets and the website?
Okay, on the township website, there is a form that allows you to input information about an issue you notice within the township. Please remember, some of the roads are state roads and some are township roads. So if it is a state road, we have to, we'll have to work with the state in handling those issues. In terms of the meeting, we actually have a meeting once a month on the second Wednesday of the month. So you're more than welcome to attend. It's at 7 o'clock. More than welcome to attend.
That's great. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I think we've certainly given some information on who we are and what we do, our Traffic Advisory Committee.